Zanzibar, an island located off the coast of East Africa. Zanzibar is an exotic archipelago which was once the hub of the famous slave trade route and the center of the Khoja Shi'a Ithna Asharis who migrated from India to the eastern shores of Africa. Today, Zanzibar reminds its Khoja residents with pleasant feelings of nostalgia as they walk through the narrow winding streets and corners where they once played as children. They fondly reminisce the golden days when the Khoja community in Zanzibar was active and vibrant in the service of the Ahlulbayt. Hailing from India, the Khojas have migrated and settled in different places around the globe. They have held on to their Indian heritage, but also assimilated into their respective societies by learning their local language and culture. The Khojas of Zanzibar have also learned the local language of Swahili, in addition to holding on to their native languages of Kutchi and Gujarati. Who are the Khojas? We will take you on a journey through history, walking through the streets of Zanzibar, soaked in the rich history of the Khoja Shia Ithna Ashari community. Sayyid Mustafa Qazwini visits Zanzibar to relish the rich history of the island. From our base in Stone Town, we drove through the rain to the south of Zanzibar to visit one of the oldest mosques on the East African coast. Yusuf, the caretaker of the mosque, gave Sayyid Qazwini a tour and talked about its history.
What is the history of this masjid?
The history of this mosque, when in the 12th century, the people from the Persian will come here, and the aim is to supply Islamic deen in the East and Central Africa.
The Persian settlers left their mark on this mosque. They left inscriptions on the tapestries of the mosque.
This part is original from the beginning up to this time. We don't take any repair here, because if you take repair this part, all history is gone.
The name of this masjid, As-Sayyida Al-Zahra?
Al-Zahra.
As-Sayyida Al-Zahra.
Sayyid Zahra, yes.
Such an ancient structure this was. It did not have a minaret, nor did it have any electricity to deliver the adhan to the people through the speakerphone.
And also, have you seen this stone?
No, what is the story of the stone?
The story of the stone, longer time ago, before to have a wall like this, and because we don't have electricity here to use mic, this is the member of Mu'adhin.
Oh, he stands on
He stands here, like
he
this.
stands on this and
yes, he says Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, long time.
The mosque also has a graveyard.
It's all
Do
graves.
you bury people now in this cemetery or not? You don't bury?
No, we use villages, all villages, this side, all this side. For example, have you seen the cover there? We have a new old, we'll make today. There is one guy is buried in the village. So we just wait 4 o'clock to bring there.
I see. How many graves you have in this area?
For the Persian people, maybe 10 to 11.
So they did not return, they stayed here and they died and they were buried.
Of course, because from Persian to here, they come fi sabilillah.
Exactly.
So if you go sabilillah, if you die somewhere...
Did they come for da'wah or for business, for a trade?
From da'wah.
Beautiful, this is a very beautiful landmark.
Of course. So we'll fight to conserve and to make sure that...
900 years, a lot.
It's long time.
Long time.
It's long time.
Yeah. May Allah bless you and reward you, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
The Persian and the Arab Muslims arrived on the idyllic island of Zanzibar over 900 years ago to spread the religion of Islam. During this time, they established several mosques in different areas of Zanzibar. "700 years ago, on the plains of western India, in a province called Sindh, lived the ancestors of the Khojas, mostly all practicing the Hindu religion. Hindus believe in a universal soul or a god called Brahman. Their god, their Brahman, takes on many forms that many Hindus worship. Hindus also believe in reincarnation, the belief that the soul is eternal and lives many lifetimes in one body after another. They believe the fate of the individual's next life is determined by how the previous life was lived. The three most important forms of Brahman are Brahma, known as the creator, Vishnu, known as the preserver, and Shiva, known as the destroyer. India followed a hierarchical system where people were classified according to their caste. Brahmins, the priestly class, Kshatriya, the soldier or ruling class, Vaishyas, the merchant class, and Shudras, the laboring class. In addition to these classes, there was an unclassified caste called the Dalits, or the untouchables. These weren't linked to any of the classes and were considered outcasts from society. The caste system was and continues to be a source of oppression in this society.
There are many sections of the Hindus, they felt oppressed. And now when they saw the Muslims, converts to Islam, praying together as equals, and the Islamic equality and humility attracted them. This has played a crucial role. Good thing about the Hindu society has been that they were always attracted towards spirituality. And the Sufi elements were very tolerant.
This will take us back to almost 650 years in Western India, the plains of Sindh, which is where the ancestors of the Khojas lived as Hindus. They were then converted by a Sufi, or some say that he was an Ismaili, who came to the area and he studied the beliefs of the Hindu Lohanas. And their belief was in the 9 incarnations of the Hindu Lord Vishnu. And they were waiting for the 10th incarnation to come.
Hindus believe in reincarnation. And while they were prepared to accept the concept of Tawheed, Nubuwwah, they were not prepared to let go the ideal of reincarnation, that you are born again and again. So the Sufis were very smart. They said, well, we can make compromise. Hazrat Ali is the 10th reincarnation of Vishnu Bhagwan.
When the ancestors of the Khojas met the Sufi dais or missionaries from Iran, they were moved by the harmony and equality of Islam.
And then they followed this path called Satpanth for almost 500 to 600 years, which was an admixture of Sufism, Hinduism, and this is where the Ginans and the Ismaili literature comes from.
We made our way back to Stone Town to visit the oldest Shia mosque in Zanzibar. It was during the reign of Sultan Barghash that the Shias had migrated from Bahrain, Iran, and Muscat. The Sultan allocated a big house behind the current Sultan's palace to allow them to hold programs in remembrance of Imam Hussein's tragedy. This place remained for over a decade and then relocated to Kiponda Street in Stone Town. Prior to the arrival of the Khojas, this mosque was where the Shia performed their religious ceremonies. Currently, the Matam Bahrani has been bought by a rich Arab from Muscat. The founding members of the center hailed from Bahrain. They intermarried with the locals and remained a part of this community. After the death of the last original Shia of the center, the facility began to be utilized by the indigenous people of Zanzibar who had converted to the Shia faith.
The beginning of the 19th century, Zanzibar began to come up as a major center of trade. And the Sultan of Muscat came and transferred his capital to Zanzibar in around 1840 or so. So thereafter, in fact, you can begin to get the beginnings of Shia communities. And the first Shia community, in fact, was Bahraini.
And it all the ash'ar in Arabic.
This is probably 160
Yeah,
years old.
160, 70 years old, of course.
MashaAllah, well maintained.
Yes, mashallah. It is the work of all this our brother Ibrahim Abbas. He worked hard here.
This
Yes,
is
yeah.
the men's section. And this
Men's
is
section. It is for ladies. It is for ladies. It is for
section.
gents. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
History of this place. When did it?
Actually, when Omani people, Omani Sultan came here in Zanzibar, then one of the Shia commanders in his force, his name was Ahmed bin Oman al-Kabi al-Bahrani. He was a Shia, so he wanted to have a Shia center here in Zanzibar. So on around 160, 70 years ago, the person Ahmed bin Oman al-Kabi, he built this Husayniya here, Al-Matam.
He was the secretary of the Sultan, and he was a Shia. And so he was also the first ambassador of Zanzibar, who went all the way to New York in 1840. So that was in a way the beginning of a Shia community, but there were Bahrainis, and until today in Zanzibar there is a place called Matemni, which is a major center of their activities there.
This is أفاطم لو خلت الحسين مجدلا وقد مات عطشانا.
When was the date written? There's a date for it.
1355
1355
Hijriya.
This is Da'bil al-Khuzai.
Yes,
when he
yes,
came
yes, yes.
to visit Imam al-Rida.
Yes, yes.
And then he said, he asked him to recite poetry. And then he reaches this phrase here. أفاطم لو خلت الحسين مجدلا وقد مات عطشانا بشط فراتي إذا للطمت الخد فاطم عنده وأجريت دمع العين في الوجنات. And then this is regarding Imam al-Rida.
Yes.
قبور بكوفان وأخرى بطيبة وأخرى بفخ نالها صلواتي.
ما شاء الله.
وقبر بطوس يا لها من مصيبة ألحت على الأحشاء بالزفرات. علي بن موسى أرشد الله أمره وصلى عليه أفضل الصلوات.
Beautiful.
After the ancestors of the Khojas converted and became Muslims, there came a further division. Some became Shia, some Sunni, and some Ismaili. The Aga Khan, the now leader of the community, was viewed as a peer. He had a dispute with the dynasty in Iran and was forced to leave. Once he arrived in India, the Iranian authority had problems with him, and so the British sent him to Calcutta. In 1842, he was then allowed to move, and he moved to Bombay. It was reported that the Aga Khan would pray at the Jamaat Khana according to Shia rites.
Outwardly, he projected himself as a Shia, though he was an Ismaili. So it is said that he operated with taqiyya while in Iran. And when he came to India, he also projected himself as a Shia, and the Sunni influence was removed, and Aga Khan started taking charge of the Khoja community in India. His house in Bombay, he used to arrange Muharram Majlis and offer ziyarat after Majlis, including of Imam Raza, which he used to do, and then arrange for niyaz. And it is Adel Jidanji Kaaba, in his book written in 1912, has described the Majlis organized by the Aga Khan 1 and 2, Dabdaba Nisate, with great pomp. And it used to attract Khoja, the Hindustani, and the Mughals, the Irani communities or the Mughal community that was in Bombay.
In Bombay, when Aga Khan was one of the princes in Iran, when he lost there in Iran and shifted to Bombay around 1840, for the first time, the Aga Khan came as the head of the community, but he's not only an ordinary head, he's an imam. And he began to exert direct control over the whole community.
The Aga Khan, to exercise more control over the community, introduced the oath of allegiance. This is where the dispute started. Until then, those who were Sunnis could practice their Sunni belief and go to Jamaat Khana. Shias could do the same, and the Ismailis could. Now the Ismailis did not have the type of prayers which Sunni and Shia had. They had Pir Dadu, who came in 15th century, had introduced Ginan in Islamic Ismaili liturgy, which contains segments of dua from the Shia, is Nashri Dua. But it was deviating. So a court case came up in 1866, and the first group professing to be Sunni separated to form the Barbai Jamaat or the Sunni Jamaat. And under this court case, the Aga Khan in the oath of allegiance provided for that all the community assets would be not held in the name of the community or Jamaat, but in the name of the Aga Khan. So this was a bone of contention among the Khoja, that we have contributed towards this, so it should be held in the name of the community. And every Khoja has a right, regardless of his persuasion. But Aga Khan won the case, and the Jamaat Khana and the community assets were transferred in the name of the Aga Khan.
After the Aga Khan won the court case, the Khojas grew concerned with the fate of their community. Several changes had occurred already. In 1873, a group of pilgrims from India and Zanzibar went to Karbala. They were Ismaili at the time. A man named Dewji Jamal was part of this group and initially had the intention of going for Hajj, but decided to go to Karbala instead. Little did he know that this journey would change the course of history forever.
The Ismailis used to go for ziyarat. They used to go to Karbala, they used to go to Najaf, but also then used to go to Iran to visit the Aga Khan. When they went to Karbala and so on, like my great-great-grandfather, and meets the local alim, who tells him that your religion is not very, very clean. Now you have a lot of other things which are not really Islamic. And it seems to have influenced him, from what we have been told within the family. That bothered my great-great-grandfather when he was told that these practices are not Islamic. For example, the Khojas believed in going for ziyarat, but not for Hajj. And Hajj is wajib.
Comes across an alim by the name of Mullah Qadir Hussain. And when Dewji Jamal was asked to say why had he come to Karbala, Dewji Jamal said that I had set out to go for Hajj, but I ended up in Karbala because someone told us that the thawab of one ziyarah is equivalent to 70 Hajj. And that is why we are here. And he was there with a group of people.
With Mullah Qadir Hussain, they went to see the Marja Taqlid in those days, Sheikh Zainul Abidin Mazindarani, and had conversations with him. They asked questions. They were concerned by the change taking place in the Khoja community after the arrival of the Aga Khan. And the 1866 case, and the greater leanings and control, and the customs and traditions undergoing change. One of the questions asked was the question of this reincarnation. He said, as Ismailis, we believe in incarnation, and Darajah of Imam Ali equal to the Holy Prophet, or even going higher. So they were told that to think of that is haram. You can't do that.
So then there was a discussion that took place to say how can they be correctly guided. And he requested Ayatollah Zainul Abidin Mazandarani to send somebody to guide the Khojas on the right path.
He asked Mullah Qadir Hussain to come back with him to India or to Zanzibar.
It took a few days of convincing, and what is remarkable is, and Mullah Qadir Hussain writes this in his autobiography, that when Ayatollah insisted that you should go, he said, can you make an istikhara for me, whether I should go or not, with Dewji Jamal to start the work of teaching the true faith to the Khojas. In response, Ayatollah Mazandarani said, do you make an istikhara for prayers? Which meant that now he had almost made it wajib upon Mullah Qadir Hussain Karbala to go to Mumbai with Dewji Jamal to start the work that needed to be done. I think this was a key turning point in our history, that had that incident not happened, had Dewji Jamal not been there for Ziyarah, had Qadir Hussain not been sent, we don't know, Allah knows best. But this was a key turning point in the history where Qadir Hussain comes to Mumbai and he begins preaching.
In the 1800s, the Khoja people of Kutch and Kathiawar would narrate the story of Karbala at the Jamaat Khana. The tragedy of Karbala has always been a source of unity amongst the Khojas, regardless of their persuasion. Mullah Qadir Hussain understood this and used this love of the Ahlulbayt to bring the Khojas to the right path and create unity.
The first thing he did was that they rented a house for him, which exists until today in Mumbai in the Palagali area. It is called Mullah Qadir Hussain Madrasa. This was the madrasa of Mullah Qadir Hussain. So in a small house, he started inviting people on Thursday nights, for example, for Dua Kumail, and slowly and gradually started preaching to them about the Shia Ithnachari faith. And he had a very small gathering which would meet in secret to begin with, because the fear was of the reprisals from the wider Khoja community. One of the biggest fear was the place for burial, that if they were out of the faith of the Khoja Ismaili, where would they be buried? So there were many challenges. So they slowly started moving towards this, and slowly as people started visiting Mullah reciting majalises in his madrasa, the group began to become bigger and bigger.
Always the love of Imam Hussain, that it's amazing. It's a bonding force that brings everyone closer. Now Mullah Qadir Hussain used this love of Imam Hussain and the institution of Majlis to do tabligh. He would teach small lessons, masail of fiqh, of muamalat, of family life and things like that.
And when you work in a place like Mumbai, in the Khoja area, in Palagali, in fact it is called Khoja Gali, or primarily the epicenter of the Khoja community there, and you had the Ismailis there, and for him to preach the faith of the Twelver was quite a dangerous thing at the time. Many a times, he had to actually change places for his tabligh, for the fear of him being shut down.
One day, he was asked to go. This was a fictitious thing arranged, to go to see someone. And he went to see someone, and when he came back, the landlord has locked his and told him, Mullah Sahib, you can't go back. He says, this is my house, I've rented it. He says, look, Mullah, I have no problem with you, but my life is in danger. If you go back to this house and condemn him and say, they can't do anything to you, they can do something to me.
Many trials and tribulations, and one of them, of course, was so much so that Killu Khatau was actually commissioned to actually kill Mullah Qadir Hussain Karbala. But it so happened that when Killu Khatau was trying to look at, what were the surroundings, what was the man like, in order to plan his deed, he got so impressed with the taqwa and the piety of Mullah Qadir Hussain that he became his biggest protector and protected him until, Killu's own last days.
There was danger to his life. He was evacuated from his house, but he did not let go his mission. And he published a book on basic usul, furu, and basic masala of fiqh. And that was translated in Gujarati and distributed all over India, in Africa, Mauritius, Madagascar, and everywhere. So this is his contribution. And there are many small anecdotes also where he had too much tribulations. For example, in those days when there were marriages, in keeping with that, there was a lot of music together. So he explained to these people that you are practicing Shia Ithnachari, and according to our faith, you can't have music and all this marriage. So now it was unthinkable in the Indian tradition to have festivity without music. Now here was a mullah who was objecting to it. So they went to a sheikh in Mughal Masjid who gave permission. And the rumor was spread that Mullah Qadir Hussain has given permission. So people say, Mullah, you are a hypocrite. You are telling us no, and then privately to a rich man, while he had not given it. So such types of tarnishing his reputation and things, but the man was steadfast.
Those who openly proclaimed to be followers or supporters of the Shia faced several problems.
1873, after Devji Jamal came back with Mullah Qadir Hussain to Bombay, he still maintained his relations with the Jamaat Khana, and he would go to Jamaat Khana. With Khalfan Ratansi, and I forget the name, when they went to Jamaat Khana in 76, they were thrown out of the Jamaat Khana because they're open leaning toward the Ithnashri. Now you must realize that when you are excommunicated from the Jamaat Khana, an announcer would go around the streets of Bombay announcing that so and so has been excommunicated. So there's a social boycott against him. Nobody should trade with him. Nobody should allow their sons and daughters to marry into their family. They would not be given burial place. So it was, and according to the Indian tribal system, to be excommunicated from it was a stigma.
Imagine that you had to give up your friendships, your business, your relationships. You did not have a place for burial because you were outcast by the community for accepting the 12-hour faith.
Those who began converting to the Shia Islam faith and joined the Qadir Hussain movement were excommunicated from the Jamaat Khana. These were one of the major tensions between the Ismaili Khojas and the Shia Khojas. A group called the Fidayin even killed 2 Shia Ithna Ashris. The Fidayin were extremists from within the Ismaili community and acted independently from the community leaders.
There were individuals among them who were called Fidayin. They were hardcore devotees of their faith or whatever beliefs they had. And anyone who deviated from that faith were viewed as apostate and worthy of being killed. And among those who left their earlier faith to join the Ithnashri faith and were strong advocates of the Ithnashri faith were viewed as a form of danger to themselves, and these apostates had to be eliminated. Now this, I must repeat, is not the decision of the collective community, but of hardcore individuals known as Fidayin.
For hundreds of years, the Khojas had sailed down the coast of East Africa during the northeastern monsoons. Most stayed behind and took advantage of the booming commerce and trade. During this time in the 1870s, the Khojas were mainly Ismaili. However, due to the problems with the Agha Khan, coupled with the teachings of Devji Jamal, many converted to the Shia faith. In fact, the first Shia Ithna Ashri mosque was built in Zanzibar, under the direction of Devji Jamal.
First Khoja Shia Ithna Ashri mosque was built in Zanzibar in 1880. At that time, Sartaria Topan was a leading Ismaili who was a wazir of the Sultan of Zanzibar and very close confidant of this Sultan. He was naturally, and he was high in the Ismaili community hierarchy, he was against the formation of the building of the Ithnashri mosque.
So he told the Sultan, who was an Ibadi, that these Shia are building a mosque, and then they will begin to recite the name of Ali from the minaret, thinking that Barghash, the Sultan there, would be very upset because the Ibadis and the Shias don't understand each other too well.
And it is reported that he complained to Sayyid Barghash that these Ithnashris would set up this mosque and they would enter into polemic debates or anything that may cause friction in the Zanzibar society. So Devji Jamal went over to see the British Consul General to point out that there is a movement against us and we are afraid that the Sultan may stop us from building the mosque. Now, as he was going, you have seen Zanzibar with its narrow streets. Some people would spit betel nut saliva toward Devji Jamal. And this is recorded also in a book by one Sharif who was in Lamu and around, I think, 1908, his book. It is his own account in Gujarati. But because he had to keep an appointment, Dev Jamal had no time to go home and change. So he went with his soiled clothes to see the British resident. And the British resident asked him, "What's this?" So he explained what happened. He said, "Then you must report to the authorities." He says, "No." He said, "But it's not right. You can report and the government will take action." You know, the answer was given. "They are my brothers. They do not know what they are doing. Someday they will realize."
So these four leaders were actually called by Barghash to explain what they are doing. And they thought, Barghash was a very powerful character, fearful as well. And they thought that they were going to be killed. But they were prepared. They even wore the kafan ready. So if they get killed, they'll be buried. They went there. He asked them some questions, and then he let them go. There was no problem. Because the sultans, they were ibadis, yes, but they were very tolerant. There was a lot of religious tolerance here. And so the sultans encouraged all sorts of people. Hindus were coming here, and they are doing big trade. So the Ismailis, the Ithnaisharis, all of them, he had no problem. So that's how that mosque was built. And this is called the Old Mosque.
In 1880, the first Shia Ithna Ashri mosque in Khoja history was built. It was called the Quwwat Mosque. Devji Jamal and Allah Rakhya Wali donated 8,000 rupees to build this mosque. Other large donors were Muhammad Walji Rauji and Wali Nazr Ali. During this time, John Muhammad Walji Rauji also bought a piece of land for burial. The mosque was completed in 1881. Zanzibar, as compared to other towns in Africa, had the highest population of the Khoja Ithna Ashris, and they numbered at almost 5,000 followers. This was a result of both conversion as well as the influx of more arrivals from Kutch and Kathiawar. The Khoja Shia community of Zanzibar was booming. The Quwwat Mosque, also now known as the Junni Masjid, meaning the Old Mosque, would be one of the busiest mosques during the auspicious months of Muharram and Ramadan. People from outside traveled to Zanzibar during the months of Ramadan, Muharram and Safar, specifically to participate in the Azadari. The turnout was always immense. Mushtaba Pardhan speaks to Sayyid Khazwini about the center.
Inshallah. Good to see you. May Allah bless you, inshallah. So what is the history of this mosque here?
This mosque has been, this is the first mosque of Khoja Shia, and the Imam Bara is their side, it is more than that one. And here, this place we are praying, and upside there is, we are praying only at Ramadan time. We are doing Amal, and I will show you just now. In that place we are doing wuzu, and we have the Imam Bara of Ali Maqam, yeah, Fazat Ali.
Okay.
They are serving niyaz and majlis there.
Okay.
And we have full of Bibi Fatima here. Also, they are every Tuesday there is a majlis there.
What is the capacity here for the worshippers inside?
It can be approximately 150 people can get in. First it was connected, but now they make it.
And then do you do the Eid prayers too?
Yeah, Eid prayers we are doing, yeah.
And this mihrab here,
yeah,
the mihrab that you have,
yeah,
it existed from before?
This is from before.
This is as it was, you know?
As it was.
120 years ago,
Yeah,
more than 120.
yeah.
I see.
This was just the
But
color.
the writings here.
This they renovated around 6-7 months.
Oh, 6-7 months ago?
Yeah.
So this is a brand new.
Yeah.
With all these tiles too?
Yeah,
These are
everything.
new?
These old is are new. Just this mat is the old one, and this everything is new one. The windows are old one. We have not changed anything.
After the influx of the Khojas to Zanzibar, a new center was built by the name of Hujjat Jamaat, also known as Name Masjid, meaning the new mosque. This mosque was built in 1890, 10 years after the Junni Masjid or the old mosque was built. Sayyid Khazwini speaks to Sajjad Hussain Tar Muhammad about the origins of the Hujjat Jamaat.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome سيدنا. ما شاء الله.
Allah bless you.
الحمد لله. جزاكم الله خير.
قبل الله
تقبل الله مع الصابرين.
So what is the capacity of this mosque? The capacity, how many people can pray here?
Here, I think even 500 can,
500?
yeah, can accommodate here.
And this is about 100 years old?
Yes, about 100 years old, yes, yes.
And who was was it a group of people who built it or one person?
No, it was a group of people. During that time, first the mosque built in Zanzibar.
From the Khoja?
Yes, from the Khoja. The first mosque built in Zanzibar is at Kiponda. That's Quwwatul Islam. Now we call it Junni Masjid, the old masjid.
What does Junni mean?
Junni means old, old masjid.
Okay.
So after that mosque was built, the influx of the foreigners from India were high. So they decided to have another mosque here with Sayyid Aka, Sayyid Abdul Hussain, Sayyid Aka Abdul Hussain. He was one of the founder members, together with my great grandfather, Al-Haj Marhum late Haj Karim Al-Arakia. And we had the personality like Datu family and Laka Kanji family, who are still now in London, and Dungarsi family. These are the founders members of this Jamaat.
You have the Maghrib and Isha prayer.
Yes, we have Maghrib and Isha prayers. Also, we have Zuhr Rain prayers as well.
Yes.
But not on, on daily basis. We have our Imam, our local Imam here, Bahraini and Bilal as well. And also we have our Shamsul Zaidi, our Maulana also. He conducts the prayers in the evening and on Jummah prayers as well.
This is where you serve?
Here, yeah, here is the place where we serve the iftar.
Here?
Here, yes, this area here. We have Mu'minin here lined up here during the 30 nights.
The devoted Habib Karani climbed up to the peak of this mosque to deliver the adhan, or the call to prayers, twice daily, noon and dusk.
Also done with this minaret as well, almost 1 year now. Al-Hajj Sayyid Abdul Latif. Abdul Latif from Muscat.
I've been told that this is now the tallest building.
No. Actually, this has a very old history as well. This minaret was built by my great-grandfather, the grandfather of my mother.
What style is this?
This is mixed of Indian and Arabic style as well.
Okay.
So he, I think, maybe was inspired by the story of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz, maybe.
So his wife departed?
Yes, his wife departed on the Ithara Thawab of her soul. He built this minaret. And actually, he wanted to be even higher.
This minaret is famously utilized, especially in the holy month of Ramadan, where we have individuals who come up to the minaret and to sight for the moon, and to sight the occasion, the start of Ramadan and the end of Ramadan. The community congregates at the mosque for daily prayers. This mosque serves as a place of meeting and worship for the community members. Name Masjid prided itself with housing the largest replica of the mausoleum of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. As the community members wrap up the prayers, lunch is being prepared in the kitchen. From a very young age, Banu Karim served the Hujjat Mosque and continues to serve the community till today selflessly, organizing the majalis and functions held in honor of the Ahlulbayt throughout the Islamic calendar.
Tandoori.
chumvi kidogo. Chumvi kidogo ongeza. Chumvi ongeza kanibele tukata kanibele. Ni anya morand wan miche. Abaju amorandi eche. Ni abaju anya geleri panci anya kaprasukawan koi panci joy to taiche.
Pandisha. Bisa. Pandisha bado. Ngoja pandisha. Sisi yeye lazima hii. Ngoja. Twende. Haya, lete. Peleka kwa la presidente. Haya, ngoja tena. Haya, lete. Leka vibaya.
Masjid ma dukam tame umuk. Mukishak so London maawanu.
Nay. No. Nay, mane fushi na tikim anyat upri na ti andan majau masjid dukam. Mari din icha chele su di masjid dukam hukalo. Mane London Javan dil dati ta.
And then the community began to grow because since these were Khojas, splits began to occur within the families. One branch, one brother will become a Ithnashari, the rest will remain Ismaili. But it continued that way, and there was constantly shift of Ismailis to Ithnasharis. And that began to worry the leader of the Ismailis, the Aga Khan, when he came in 1905 to East Africa, came to Zanzibar, and he gave an order that from now on, no interaction with Ithnasharis, complete split. Not to go to burials, not to go to weddings, nothing. And so then the two communities began to develop completely separately. Although even today, there are some families that you can trace. One line is Ismaili, another one is Ithnashari.
The Khoja community in Zanzibar are always very active in commemorating and honoring the Ahlulbayt. The community had established various centers known as mehfils in the names of the Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. The Mehfil-e-Shahi Khurasan, also famously known as Kiwanjani, was built in honor of our beloved 8th Holy Imam Rida alayhi salam. Mehfil-e-Ali Maqam, Mehfil-e-Bibi Zainab, Mehfil-e-Bibi Sakina and Mehfil-e-Bibi Fatima were also a part of the centers visited regularly by the community. Sayyid Mustafa Khazwini visits one of the most famous mehfils in Zanzibar. The Mehfil-e-Abbas and Tazia Khana are located in the prime area of Kiponda Street in Stone Town.
Throughout the year, every once a week, the sisters gather, but the gents are usually here in Arba'in and in Muharram, yeah.
I see.
They take advantage of this place.
I see.
Historically until today, these centers have held main functions in the holy months of Muharram and Safar to commemorate and mark the tragedy of Ashura. Members of the community would first congregate at Mehfil-e-Abbas at around 8 p.m. local time and recite a few couplets in honor of Hazrat Abbas. Thereafter, they would go downstairs to the ground floor of the same building and congregate at Tazia Khana. The Tazia Khana would also famously stage the preparation of alams and tabuts. These were smaller replica shrines and symbols that young boys and girls would carry during the Julus procession, or famously known as the Matam Jiani, to signify the tragedy of Karbala. This commemoration was very significant and was widely participated in by the entire community.
So the number has dwindled now from several thousands into several hundreds now.
Not even hundreds. I think the members that we have counted is around just 50 members,
50.
yeah. And their families maybe together, it should be around 100.
But then you still have the Arba'in procession
That
and
is
people
right.
come from outside?
Yes, that
You
has been
still
very,
have.
that has been
That's
very
the
ceremonious. It's been very ceremonious because Arba'in has been mentioned and many people do
Why
gather
they
around.
chose this island for the Arba'in procession? Is there any reason for that?
I think the history says so because most of the families were here, all those now who have migrated out. And they do appear in quite big numbers here and get quite a number of people around.
Interesting. May Allah bless you.
Alhamdulillah.
The story of the Khoja community is indeed inspiring and moving. They did not only transform their local community in India, but started a mass migration to the shores of East Africa and ultimately to the rest of the Western world. Today, the Khoja community continues to take great strides in philanthropic work both in and outside the community. They have established several charitable institutions, schools and hospitals which benefit the entire community at large.